Before the podcast starts, I kind of got to give y'all a disclaimer. So we did this podcast episode, a special podcast episode called Black Love and Mental Health. And we did it at the Black Monday event. Shout out to Black Monday for having us. Thank you again. We genuinely appreciate it. We had a great time. So before I get into the nitty gritty of all of that, you guys get to go see that episode and share it with your friends, share it with your family, your mama, your doctor, whomever that may be. I definitely got to give an apologies to Mike History. Your mic somehow on the podcast episode just was not, it wasn't giving. I don't even know why.
I can't hear y'all.
Yeah, we're just gonna apologize, guys, for the audio in advance. The episode is still mwah. Shout outs to everybody that was there. You guys were phenomenal. Make sure you literally, you'll see everything in the descriptions where you can go follow everybody because y'all, like, come on now. They was definitely good. Be on the lookout for that in the caption below. And also go give them a follow. Like I said, share this with your friends. Yeah, this is today's episode of A Black Love and Mental Health. And shout outs once again to Monita Kai, Black Monday. Shout outs to Lee. Shout outs to everybody that was there. Thank you again. And here we go. All right. Welcome back to the Share It All podcast. I'm your loving and growing coach, Joy the Growth Coach, and welcome to a new form of my podcast. So shout outs to a Black Monday. This is their event, and they asked me to be on and be a part of their event for this podcast episode. So today we're talking all about Black love. What does that look like? What does that feel like for the culture, as well as what does self-love look like? And we'll probably dive into a little bit when it comes to mental health. So I got a few friends here with me. I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves. We'll start this way, and we'll go from there. So take it away.
Got you. Hey, everybody. My name is Ade. I work in marketing analyst. I also have a background in grief support as a facilitator. So really looking forward to talk about mental health and also how it affects Black love and relationships.
Hello. My name is Janae. I do career coaching and interviewing, and I'm really into fitness and nutrition as well as manifestation.
Peace family, my name is Mike History. I am the founder of the media platform versus Mike History. It's a podcast, newsletter, marketplace community, all types of things. And I'm here to talk about Black love and get into everything.
Hi everyone, my name is Courtney. I go by Coco. I currently have a customized luxury eyewear brand, Framing Your Authentic Identity, along with a production company called Alignment.
Hello, everybody. I'm late to I'm the new addition to this podcast. My name is Roldy. I do a little bit of everything. Currently, I am a chef. I'm also a coach. I have a background in finance, and I also own 2 companies.
So thank you, everybody, for joining in on today's podcast. Greatly appreciate y'all coming in and showing out, especially for Black Monday for sponsoring us. So I'm going to just kind of go around. What is everybody's view on, like, just if you could describe it in one word, what is Black love to you? Anybody can start. It don't matter. Just
Black
one word.
love
One
is
word.
Understanding.
Effort.
Respect.
I'm waiting on you, sis.
Oh my gosh. I would say...
Wait, in the mic.
I would say compassion.
Okay. If I got one word to describe Black love, I would say authentic. Just because it looks different for each and every Black person in every, I guess, relationship. I think everything isn't the same. But I kind of want to hear everybody's point of view on just Black love, since we're all, I'm pretty sure, under the age of like 26, 27, 28. So I just kind of... we got somebody that maybe got some more seasonal experience, but I want to hear everybody's view on what like Black love means to them and what's going on, I guess, in their love life, to just kind of maybe get a grips of maybe what Black love looks like. Anybody want to start? Because I ain't gonna put out all my dirty laundry first.
I would say also like Black love should be considered traditional as well because Black love consists of the Black experience too and what we've all grown up as or our upbringing. Like all of us as African Americans have had different upbringings, which then projects into the way we love. Because I know some people might think of it like, okay, what's the difference between love and Black love? So it's like Black love, I believe, should be considered to just be of a tradition where you are kind of overcoming those trials and tribulations you've had in the past growing up, or you're just learning and progressing with your partner each and every day to just be better and a unity in a sense.
I feel that. Okay.
I would say Black love is inspirational, but also why I say like before effort is like kind of what you said. We're all kind of coming off of like trauma or like trying to understand because what you see in media and everything like that, like you don't always see the best view unless it's like coming from us. So I say it's inspirational because it's something that is beautiful and you feel comfortable around someone who also knows this system that we're living in and like, the struggles that you might go through as a Black man or you might go through as a Black woman. But you have to put the effort in because like it's very easy to like get lost in the sauce of like media and like even like social media. Like Black love isn't always just like going on trips and like just looking good on camera. Like it's also going through like fights and like understanding like individual traumas from like personal to like cultural to just the things that you see or even people not wanting you to be together as like a Black couple. So yeah, that's my opinion on it.
I like that. I feel that. Anybody else want to go?
Yeah, I think it's important when thinking about Black love to just acknowledge that you're showing up for someone else, and it's not all about what you want in a relationship. It's important to be able to pinpoint what you're good at, like your strengths and weaknesses in a relationship, and be able to own that like from in each relationship, whether it be platonic or romantic. Because I think a lot of people like go into relationships thinking about what the person can do for them, but they don't really think about like, like how am I showing up for this person? And, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I would say that Black love is therapeutic because, having that connection with somebody and being able to share a common experience is really important. And, that's why I advocate for Black love so much because, you want to be able to connect with somebody. Like, when you come home and, you have an experience that's only something that a Black person would experience, you could come home and say, hey, listen, this is what happened, and they will understand you. So I feel like it's very therapeutic and, it's comfort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on a Sunday afternoon or something, and you have your, your home cooked meal, it brings you comfort. So that's what I would say Black love is to me.
I kind of want to piggyback off what you said about the like understanding one another because I was having a conversation with my friend the other day about interracial loves. When one person is of color and the other isn't, you want to give them Black love or just share what you're going through with them, and sometimes they might not be able to relate, or that's just where that contrast comes in, where it's like, all right, how do we? So my question kind of becomes like, can you still project Black love in an interracial
That's a good question.
relationship?
Go ahead, answer that.
So my opinion on that is like I think you can, because Black isn't a monolith. We're all not the same version of a Black person. So, but I think like if the person who's of like the other race, if they have a willingness or even put in that effort to learn or even like figure out, all right, teach me about your culture, teach me about like what you like. And even the same way, like if you want to learn about theirs, I think you could still like promote that and push that. And I, once again, like Black love is, like I said, it's inspirational, but I think love in general is like the kind of goal for everybody, right? Like you want someone that is accepting of you and you could accept them as well. So.
I'm iffy about can you receive black love from an interracial relationship. Although I've grown up, I have family that is interracial. I think it's just like you said, it's a different experience. Like you can understand, like if the world is against you, can your other significant other, like that is of not of the same race, can they understand you in that aspect? I think they have empathy and sympathy, but like they're never gonna be able to like protect you the same way another black woman can, like how your mother can, how your grandmother could. So I think that does play a huge part. And when it comes to black love, like when you get discriminated against, or like when somebody sees you in a different format, like then you typically would be like, if you're around a group of us, clearly, like they just not gonna understand it. But I think that they still can respect you and try and get as close, but they'll never just like love you in that sense. If that makes sense to everybody. Go ahead.
So I'm not trying to combat anything that you said or discredit it, but I think what you described was more so trauma.
Is it really
bonding.
trauma?
Yes.
Okay,
Trauma
explain
bonding,
how.
because what you're basing the conversation or your perspective on is certain adversities that that presents itself to you. So I understand what you're saying, but that's not black love. For me, especially coming from a community that invented true liberty and freedom, it has nothing to do with your personal feelings per se. It has more so to do with community. So, for example, just because you yourself are a different shade from me, that doesn't make you not part of my community.
That's true. I definitely give you that. But does it mean that how we walk through life is the same way? And like when it comes to loving in the same way, like how, prime example, I think like some individuals I grew up in, maybe Hispanic or like Asian households, they might show love in a different format versus how black people do. And that shows in just how we love and how we show up for each other, how we care for each other. It looks completely different. So if somebody's willing to understand that black love and whatnot, but will they fully be able to grasp it? Like it just comes natural to them, how it comes natural for us.
I 100% think so.
Okay.
Because love is a feeling. It's not a action. It's not a
Love is an action. It's a feeling and an action.
I beg to differ. Because the action.
Ooh, that
Hear me
face
out.
says something too.
No, hear me out. Based
We're all like,
based off of the conversation you guys are having, right? What are you referring to as love? Is love an act of service? Is love a gift? It's not. It's a feeling. Am I,
no, go
based
ahead.
off of the conversation that we are that we are currently having, correct? Mm-hmm. What is love?
Love can be just showing up for somebody on when they're on a down day. Love can be, I'm tired. Can you make me dinner tonight? And you do. Love can be, thank you for coming to my event because you're my best friend. I genuinely appreciate it. So you love me. Love can be, yo, like my car broke down. Can you come spot me $200-$300 to get my car fixed? That's what love is. Love is different for every single type of relationship. So I just want that to be thoroughly clear that love is in so many different aspects.
And then after her saying that, I want to also piggyback and ask you, do you believe in love languages? Do you know what a love language is?
Yes. I know love languages, but what you just described, all of those are acts of services.
But that also goes into love. Love languages is an act of service.
So what you're saying is love is an over-encompassing thing, correct?
Sure,
It doesn't only have, or it doesn't pertain to only one diameter. What you described was act of services, right?
But it's
for example,
out of love.
I can show my love through, let's say, just smiling or spending time with you.
That's quality time. That's
No,
a love language.
No, I understand. What I'm trying to point out is that what you described was acts of services, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that you can perform these acts of services to another individual who's not the same race as you, but they won't get the concept of love?
I'm not saying that they won't understand the concept, but it's, how do I explain it?
Like I
Sometimes
said,
it
trauma
just,
bonding.
it's not trauma bonding. I think it just hits a little differently. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, I think like an example could be where you come home from work one day and you're dealing in a corporate America field where you're you're the minority, right? You come home to someone that isn't of color and you try to express this to them and they're supposed to be there to comfort you, to be that love that you need. So when they're not in that position of you or to even understand that level that you're at, it's kind of hard. How are they going to show that type of comfort or love to you? Like they can show their version of love to be comforting, but it may not hit the same, or that comfort just may not hit the same because they still don't really understand where you're coming from being in that position. You know what I'm saying?
So to combat with your argument, I understand what you're saying, but maybe it's you who's not receiving their form of affection or how they or how they give off love that way. But once again, I completely understand. But I'm trying to say is love isn't something that you could just based off of just race or commonalities. See what I mean? Like there has to be a less I guess restrictive way of saying I love you to somebody.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if what I'm saying is coming across.
No, I get what you're saying because I feel like I have friends who are with someone, but and even myself, I've been with someone where it's like just because they're not doing the things you would like or doing things the way you would want them to or showing you love in the way you see it, you're thinking to yourself, oh, that person don't love me. But you're basically trying to say like that person is just showing you love in their version and their way. So therefore, if you love them, you should be able to accept it no matter what. But then how do you, stay with someone who isn't projecting the love languages that are dear to you? Like, I feel like if you love someone, you should learn how to be receptive of their love language. Like, say if, acts of service is my love language, but my person just doesn't do that. That's just not their thing. Like, how am I supposed to just, what if I feel like I'm settling now because you're not really doing that for me?
And for that, I think you should do a little bit more internal searching because for me, it's if you know your love language, correct, and your significant other isn't performing that love language, you guys need to have a conversation and find some form of common ground. Because I understand that, for example, your love language may be gifts, correct? How is it that you can switch around how you depict your love language into some way that you want to receive it? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to love other things about that person, I feel.
We need more perspective.
But
What you gotta
yeah,
say?
Well, I wanted to shift because you guys are having a good conversation. I wanted to just hop in and ask everybody like, what are you guys' love languages, and like, how do you communicate that when you're like in a situation? I can start.
Go ahead.
So I mean, for me, it's like I like to be affectionate with my partner. So like physical touch is something that's very important to me. I like being able to express physically that like I'm attracted to my partner and that like that she feels like I want her. So I think that. But I'm just curious to know like how you guys approach it because we're having this conversation about love languages and how to express it and how do we even navigate figuring out what it is for each other. So
Yeah. I think it's a good question. Sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
Yeah.
go ahead. I want my guests to go first before I go. I typically like doing that.
I would say, just to give some context, my top love languages are, I guess, the typical guy ones, kind of like the physical touch, the quality time. And then I also like words of affirmation, so kind of like encouraging people. And I guess your question was like, how do you kind of go about?
yeah, like how do you communicate that to your partner?
I think because you could like off the rip on the first date be like, one of those regular questions like, these are my love languages. But I think one, you kind of have to show it, but then also like kind of keep your eye out for like little things as best as you can. And from that, also, I don't think you need to be too pigeonholed into like doing the same thing, because I think when you take those tests, it's like that's a barometer of like what out of the majority what you like to do. But people like a little bit of all of them, you know. So like it could fluctuate at any time of the day. So you have to, I would say, keep a kind of like fluid mindset in terms of like, all right, let me see how they're moving. Let me see how they're kind of like feeling in the time and place. And like when you know, if you have those conversations and you know like they typically like, you know, words of affirmation or like gifts or something like that, you get them a little gift, but don't just like just give them anything and think that's gonna settle everything. Like you always need to have like constant check-ins. And that goes both ways. So like you can't be upset if you feel like someone isn't doing what they're supposed to do. You also need to like speak up, you know. Closed mouths don't get fed on the boulevard, so you gotta do that.
I would say a little bit of everything. Like Ade said, like it fluctuates, and depending on where you are in your life, you'll need one particular, you know, not affirmation, but what was the word again? I forgot.
Acts of service?
No, I was just going to say like love language rather.
Love language.
Yeah, so it really fluctuates, but I would say like definitely quality time. I guess, you know, love affirmations as well, but just being like really a supportive partner and like heavy on communication. Like that's the key, because how is the person going to know what your love language is if you don't communicate? I feel like if you're going to be with somebody, you have to be aligned in that sense. Like, you know, with your love languages, and you got to be very observant of what your partner is going through to know, like, okay, like she'll need this or he'll need that. Like you said, if you're coming home from work, you might need a meal, and if you might be a little grumpy, you might be a little hangry. Yeah, you know, and your husband or your wife, you know, you'd be like, oh, he or she's a little bit hangry right now. Let me fix her favorite snack or something like that. So just being like very aware, communicative, and, you know, supportive at the end of the day.
Okay. Go ahead. I always go last.
Yeah, definitely communication, because communication, I just feel like solves all of it at the end of the day. And, you know, again, even if you and your partner have two different types of love languages, I feel like when you guys resort back to that communication, it'll all just tie up to, okay, this is what you like, this is what I like. And at the end of the day, if you like the person, you're going to not adjust, but you're going to adapt to that. You know, you're going to want to do those things for someone. Like, I was in a position where, you know, before going through my little growth period, I was in a position where I felt like I couldn't express myself because I used to think, oh, I'm making this person feel like they have to do these things. Like, I'm gonna test them to see if they'd rather do it. And it's like, it's not like that, you know? You just gotta flow and talk and just, you know, chill. Yeah, exactly. And let them show you their cards, and you sit back and just observe, you know? Or don't be so quick to just assume either and be like, oh, you don't like me because you just did that. Like, no, just relax, chill out. So yeah.
Thank you. I feel special. But no, but for me personally, I actually find each and every love language as a form of endearment. But specifically for me, I love spending quality time and making new memories with people.
Okay. So I would say my love language is physical touch. And then the next one would be quality time. Like, if you really could, like, it's different when you, like, can spend your time with somebody. Like, y'all both got lives. You're working 9 to 5. You're doing whatever. Like, I got this podcast. I got school. I got a bunch of things that's going on. And then if you got a busy schedule, then you can spend time. It's very appreciative. And then, like, being able to learn somebody's love language, I think in a relationship is very essential. Because when you're loving somebody through your love language, they may not feel loved, seen, and heard. And I feel like I've fallen victim to that in the past. Like, if my two love languages, like I said, and then prime example, my partner's is words of affirmation. If I'm constantly doing that, they're like, well, she not loving me the way I might need to be loved. So I think that like kind of makes sometimes relationships a little stuffy. That's probably the worst word to use it, but it makes it a little difficult to kind of navigate that, because if you're not communicating, like everybody said, like what is your love language, or I would say sometimes I love black men, but sometimes I don't know how to communicate those things. I think we're in the era of learning, which I am thoroughly appreciating. It makes it a lot more easier and smoother for the relationship to flow. So I would definitely say communication is definitely key. Like you said, like the first date, typically to have those conversations, I think is very essential, because then that kind of sets the tone of how like we're going to move afterwards. Like, all right, like now she knows my love language. Is she going to show up and love me in that way? If she don't love me in that way, she's not thoroughly paying attention. She's not hearing me out. She's not making me feel seen, heard, or valued. So I kind of like how everybody kind of knows their love language. It's kind of cool, because sometimes people just be like, what is love languages? I've had to kind of tell people what love languages are. So shout out to y'all.
I also have a question for everyone. Like, have you guys ever been in a position where someone has tried to use your love language to manipulate you, or use your love language against you in a sense? So if they know you like or love these certain things, in order to get you to do what they want for them, have they ever tried to, or you think that's a such thing?
No, I think it's definitely a thing.
Okay.
I definitely think it's a thing.
And like, how have you guys like gone about that, if you have been through that experience, or what would your advice be to somebody?
We gonna let somebody else go, because Rolly gonna take it to the podcast. It's up to him. Somebody else go first, and then we'll let him go, unless you want to go.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say it was directly like, I don't think it's happened to me. But I could see like, cause there's manipulators out there, right? Like people who know, they're like, it might not be as deep as just like your love language, but they'll know like, if I get you a gift, you'll kind of calm down if I messed up. So I think in general, it's like, there's definitely, you got to watch out for people like that in general. And I would say the best way to kind of go about that, this isn't scientifically proven. There's no test results I have from this, but I would say like self-love kind of, or also like getting to a point where you know yourself. And you could kind of like, not be skeptical, but you could at least say like, all right, I've seen they've done this, this, and this. Like, be objective. Like, this is something that I don't like, and they know I don't like this. But then afterwards, they'll continue. Like, there's a pattern of, I get a gift, they mess up, I get a gift, they mess up, I get a gift. You gotta like check that, know.
Find the cycle, yeah.
Yeah, and you could give people grace for a certain period, but after a while, you gotta, they strike out. So, I think recognizing patterns is like a big and important thing to do to avoid those kind of situations.
I agree. I definitely agree. Anybody else want to go? You want to go now?
I wouldn't say that I've dealt with like people using my love language to manipulate me, but like I've definitely dealt with like emotional manipulation, where like people just like cry, or, make it about them, and in a situation where we're trying to resolve an issue where we're both accountable for issues that have arose in a relationship. So I think that it's important to be able to like pinpoint it and recognize it when it's happening to you, because a lot of people, especially like when you have relationships, especially when you have conversations with your friends and you like your friends are trying to get advice from you, and they're like, oh, like my partner did this, and you're like, oh, yeah, manipulating you, like. So it's very important like for you to like be able to like, while you can help somebody else with it, it's very important for you to pinpoint that like in your own situations.
Yes. Amen to that.
I agree. Go ahead, best friend.
I haven't experienced it, but I would say, like, as a form of advice, definitely self-love, like Ade said, but also having a level of self-respect. Especially as a woman, like, you need to have self-respect, because if you don't, you're going to let people manipulate you, run all over you, and do whatever they want. So I feel like, if a man is going to love you, he has to respect you first. So if there's a level of self-respect, and of course you're respecting him as well and making him feel like he's a man and he's making you feel like a woman, respect has to be in place for sure.
Oh, you don't have nothing to say? No, I want to hear your thoughts. I love hearing your thoughts. Every day I hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, love language, I've never really love language. I've never really seen it. But in terms of personality traits, like if somebody's is genuinely a generous person or forgiving, I've definitely witnessed it. But other than that, love language, no, it's not clicking in my head. Sorry.
I can agree that emotionally have I witnessed manipulation? Yes, not only for my own life, but like even for my friends' life. Like, let's see. A prime example is when you're in a relationship and somebody knows obviously like spending a lot of time with your significant other makes you happy, and then although you're spending time with me, but if you're not spending quality, like either having conversations or just sitting in the same room. Like sometimes that works for people, just being in the same room, same ambiance, that works. But like if you're not actually like giving to me, oh, well, I'm here, that's cool. But like, what are you doing with me? Like, are we having conversations? Or are you sitting there on your phone the entire time? Or are you sitting there like doing something for you and it's not benefiting us together? Like somebody can use that against you sometimes in an argument. Well, I'm here. Okay. Like, what more do you want? I love you because I'm here, but it's like, but that's not how I want to receive that emotional love or whatnot. Or sometimes I would say people have a tendency, if your love language is physical touch, using sex against people. And that sometimes kind of hurts. I'm not saying that's personally happened to me, but I've witnessed like friends have that experience. Like just because you have sex with them all the time, or if you have sex with somebody that makes you feel loved and tended to, but that doesn't mean that like at the end of the day, you're feeding into like you're going in with a good heart. If that makes sense. So yeah.
I kind of have a question.
Go ahead.
So when it comes to like, just in general, like relationships and mental health, do you feel like what is your opinion on like the amount of weight that sex has, or also like just lust in general, that kind of like confusion between lust and love in a relationship? Like,
for one, I think you have to be mentally stable, I think, with yourself before you even step into a bed with anybody. And I think that as women, I think we kind of sometimes blur those lines because we want to feel that love so much, especially by our male counterparts. Damn, that shit is loud. But sometimes we blur the lines. I think we really have to do a lot of self-love to really understand like how we are comfortable within our bodies before we even decide to lay down in the bed with anybody. I think that's essentially important. And I think that takes sometimes years, sometimes partners to experience or learn, and also sometimes learning what parts of yourself that you truly love on your body before you allow somebody else to love those parts of your body. And then knowing the difference between lust. If a person isn't like, catering to those parts that you really are expressing to them, like I really love when somebody does this to me, or like holds me in this type of way, or makes me feel like this, when we are in that type of experience or vibe. I don't know, it can just be like, are you just trying to bust a nut, or like are you here to just like love me? So I think that's really important to like also understand maybe the first few times when you have those experiences with somebody, in order to like really ground yourself mentally and like emotionally for a relationship.
Yeah, and being like completely transparent, like
We love it here.
I used to put like how you perform in the bed over everything. Like, yeah, I could like you and all that, but then once that happens and it's just a deal breaker, I totally shut down. Like, well, not anymore. I'm working on like not doing that anymore, because I feel like that's wrong. Like I'm sitting here emasculating a man because he can't perform here, but he's performing everything else right as a man.
And sometimes you just gotta teach people.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta be a teacher.
Exactly. If you truly like the person too, you're gonna be patient with them. Like I used to be the type like, well, actually no, because I'm very open-minded. So a lot of my friends are mostly like, no, if he can't perform how I want, like it's a dub. But you got to consider, like, if you truly genuinely like this person and they're abiding by all the ways, you know, you love and all this, that, and the third, why not try to work with them? Because love is work, you know? It's not just a...
But also, you need a partner that's willing to be a student. If you don't have a partner that's willing to be a student, and it's not gonna, like, you're just gonna slightly be a little unhappy. And if that comes, if you're okay with that being at the cost of your relationship, that's perfectly fine, I think. But personally, myself, I need a person. Just like I'm gonna be a student for you, you gotta be a student for me. It's the only way that's gonna work.
As a guy, we do have our on and off days, but for the most part, as I progress and, you know, get more and more mature, as I mature more and more, what I've come to the realization, and I'm not speaking on everybody's behalf, but what I've come to the realization is your significant other, whether it be in bed or whatever the case may be, if that person isn't learning about you, like once or twice you might be able to, you know, let it slide. But if it's like a reoccurring instance, then I would say that person definitely is just trying to get a nut off. Because after a certain time, especially if you have like if you have feelings for your significant other, that's gonna be your main goal, whether it be sexual, whether it be favors, whether it be making sure the person is good or whatever the case may be. Your willingness to, you know, go above and beyond should definitely, you know, over encompass everything in those realms.
I definitely agree.
I think in general, like, people should just start valuing sex more in relationships. Like, I think that, like, in a general sense, you don't put enough value on sex or, like, how important it actually is in a relationship. Like, we may, like, say it's not that important. Like, oh, we should focus on feelings and getting to know each other and this and that. But a lot of people, like we just discussed around this lovely hookah, a lot of people have admitted that, like, yo, like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the relationship if the sex is whack. The sex is whack and it's done. So I think that it's important for us to, like, start acknowledging our relationships because I feel like we so often get, like, hung up on them, like, oh, well, you know, like, let's put the sex off and let's, like, get to know each other, and that is very important. I'm not trying to say that the sex aspect has to be rushed, but I think that it's also important for people to recognize in a relationship, like, yo, like I have sexual needs, like, these are the things that I like, these are the things that I don't like, and I think that would help, you know, sustain a lot more relationships than we have now, because, you know, people try to pretend like they need certain things out of relationships when really what they need is, you know, just physical satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wanted to just say one thing. I think, and I'm gonna say this at the camera, and I'm gonna say it to all y'all. I think women also need to speak up because we like to we coddle y'all feelings. We coddle y'all feelings. I want y'all to know we coddle y'all feelings because we don't want y'all to think that y'all are that bad in bed. But some of y'all got a little bit of work to do. That's why it's really essential and really important that, like,
guys also fake nuts and rush nuts too. Just FYI. I'm
not saying that y'all don't.
Just because y'all not satisfied don't mean that you know what always satisfied. I'm just letting that be known.
I agree. Don't go.
Just throwing that out there.
But I will say, I agree. I agree. I feel like like everyone said, you got to, like, speak up. You got to, like, you know, you don't have to overemphasize, but yeah, it's an important part. So, you know, why not just get to a straight first date? You know what I'm saying? Knock it out the way.
All right.
Why she look at you like that? She's like, this nigga bugging.
Yeah. Nah? Okay. Guys, I tried, guys. I tried.
I don't subscribe to that.
what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen?
Wait, because is it true, like, guys gotta, like,
I mean, I have a friend that pretty much did that within like a few weeks, and they've been together since college. They live together. They have a child. He put a ring on it. So I feel like that is definitely something that is possible. But, like, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, I wouldn't really advise to do that. I mean, if you want to take that chance, go on ahead. But If you're just looking for like a friends with benefits situation, perfect. That's amazing. But if it's something long term you're looking for, I really wouldn't advise that, because like I said, as far as like having self-respect for yourself as a woman, I feel like it's a little bit tainted when you do that on the first date. That's just my opinion.
But does anybody know the statistics actually on the amount of orgasms women have compared to the amount of orgasms that men have?
No.
Okay, so this is
I was
where
gonna say a lot.
now the little educator in me can come out. So, I'm not a sex educator. However, I do watch a sex educator named Shambudra, known as Shambudi. According to her, heterosexual men typically have about 75% more orgasms, and women only have 28%. But if you're in a lesbian or a homosexual relationship, the orgasms actually double. So it is kind of important for women to actually speak up a little bit more, because we're more likely to kind of like let y'all get y'all nut off, but we not telling y'all. Now, these statistics came out, I'm going to say, in the last 3 to 4 years. I'm not saying they may change. Now that we in 2023, they might redo the study. However, there's a lot of women that are not getting their nut off and are not, enjoying pleasurable sex, because sometimes their partners are not willing to budge, or they're not being able to speak up, or just, sometimes they don't even know themselves really within, like, in the bedroom to automatically get that nut. Go ahead. Speak up.
Back to what you were saying, and that could also contribute to what you were saying in regards to the statistics, because you having all these, I guess, implied restrictions or imposed restrictions because of society's perception of you can also cripple you in terms of finding out or venturing out and finding out what it is to get you to where you need to get to. So I'm just saying, like with everything, too much of something is always bad. So having that mindset, it can be good, but also just know that it's a double-edged sword. It can also bite you in the ass.
Okay.
Can I curse?
Yes, you can curse.
So, can you be more specific about what you're saying?
Okay, so like for example, like you were saying, let's say you go on a date, you find this guy extremely attractive, he hits every single mark on your list, right? But for some weird reason, you say, oh, you don't want to have sex for the first 60 days, right? No.
Okay.
I'm just providing you an example.
Okay.
Just like you said, first night, self-respect. But
Yeah.
once again, what does that have anything to do with self-respect? Because to me, as an adult, if you know your worth, why are you basing it based off of whether or not you sleep with somebody on the first night or not? Because I know my worth, and trust me, I don't go around fucking everything. But at the same time, if I find you attractive and I can see a potential future with you, whatever the case may be, whether it's the first day, second day, third day, fourth date, 60 days, it doesn't fucking matter. If I find you attractive, it is what it is,
Right.
and we're gonna get it. You feel me? But that's just me in terms of the.
But I also feel like every woman is different, so and every situation is different. I said I wouldn't advise. I said if that's what you want to do, then do you. But not every woman is comfortable to do that on the first night.
I agree.
And why should she have to feel like obligated to do that?
No, nobody's saying anything about obligations.
Yeah.
But the same way, you're not also entitled to feel obligated to follow society's perception on whether or not you want to sleep with somebody on first night. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying she has to feel obligated or anything like that. All I'm saying is there are certain mindsets that society that society pushes on people that doesn't help you at all.
Right.
Is it society, or is it the fact that women have experienced, they go on one date, the minute after that date it didn't work out, either whether it was in the bedroom or whatever, guys ghost them. And then there's no explanation. Y'all don't communicate why it just didn't work. And after that one date, it's as if we never even knew you. You never slid into my DMs. You never hit up my phone. You never, met me at a party. And it's like, it don't make no sense, because I thought the night was great.
No, I'm just gonna say, like, I feel like that's something that is you have to work towards, because at the end of the day, women are the one that's bearing children. Guys
That's true.
aren't. So we have to be very protective of that. That is something that's very special. And for me to be intimate with you, it has to be earned. Like, I'm not going to just be like, oh yeah, first date, I could find you attractive all day, but do we connect? Do we bond? Do we have that level of like spark? You know what I mean? Like, do we banter? Do we have fun? Like, all of those things are taken into account. So I know that that's something that guys want, but at the end of the day, women, we don't just think about that all the time. Like, we think about our emotions, our feelings, how we connect with our partners. So for the first night, shoot, I mean, if y'all attracted to each other, y'all both grown, but at the end of the day, not every woman is the same. So you can't expect, not saying that you said that, but I'm just saying, like, it's not something that's so common for a woman to do that if she's looking for a long-term relationship.
And that's why I strongly believe in the saying that men get what they can and women get what they want at the end of the day, because I just like, we definitely set the tone for that. And, you know, like you said, it could be off of previous, you know, experiences that you have that just start to make you set a certain standard for yourself, you know? And the more you have more self-love for you and how much you value love, to Mike's point, like, that's more how longer you're probably just, you know, you prefer to wait or not, you know? That's how I look at it. But I get what you're saying, too. You're saying, like, if you want to get busy, get busy.
No. I don't disagree at all, because at the end of the day, like, there's truth to it. Like, there's consent where guys are the pursuers. So, like, to that point, yeah, you can't force anybody to do anything. And at the end of the day, the guys are pursuing and trying to make the, like, women, if, you know, heterosexual, if trying to make the women comfortable enough to, you know, one, if that's what your goal is, to, you know, have a good night. But it's not a 100% thing. It's not like all guys are just like, you get what you get. You know, it's the same back and forth. I think you need to also understand who you are, and also like the qualities that you bring to a relationship or whatever it is. Because you can't just have that mindset and expect you're going to get the world, because sometimes you don't bring the world. You don't have the qualities that a guy is looking for, like, in that situation. So, like, it's not me saying that you're not supposed to, like, value yourself or kind of go out there with your shoulders up and feel confident, but you got to know yourself, kind of to your point. Like, know what you want, know who you are, and, you know, live life accordingly.
But how do you know that exactly off the first date, though? Like, can you, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, you can pick up on certain vibes and things at the first date, but those are things that sometimes, like she said, you have to learn those things over time.
Yeah.
I think he was just rebuttaling to her statement of guys get what they want. I mean, women get what they want and guys get what they can.
That's true. And I'm saying,
What's true?
go ahead. I'm hearing what you say, but I'm rebelling to him, too.
No, I'm messing with you.
I'm just saying, like, yes, you can get what you. I agree with everything that everybody has said to a certain degree, but but like, to what you said, like, wouldn't that be something like you have to learn over time, like, in order to know, like, even if you were wanting to sleep with somebody on the first date, okay, like, if she's not comfortable with that, obviously, like, you get what you want, so you guys would have to wait, obviously, but, like, those things that you're saying, like, women may not have those qualities that, you know, a man is looking for. Can you automatically just tell that just immediately off the first date? Because sometimes people come into the first date, they're both nervous. So you're getting, like, a fake version of that person, honestly, or, like, a setup version. Until you really get to know somebody, maybe that might take the second, third, maybe fifth date. And so, like, not if she's holding out to, like, a certain number of dates, but, like, you get to see, like, that comfort level start to evolve, and then you really get to know, like, okay, then I want to lay in the bed and do whatever happens after that.
I have a question for you guys. Well, for the women, like, I'm curious to know if you guys have more. If you guys prefer. Actually, not about preference, but, like, when somebody asks you out, is it okay for them to, like, have a line of questioning or conversations before the date, or is that all reserved for the first date? Like, are you guys not trying to have no types of conversations before you go out on that first date?
Yeah, and just to like kind of clarify, like kind of go into like the different stages. Like, is it cool to have a talking stage before we wine and dine, or like, how do you guys feel about that?
I'll go first. I don't mind it. Like, I think for me, because I have a lot of guy best friends. Well, not a lot. Let me make that very clear. I have like 4 or 3. Yeah, 4. Let's do 4. And knowing my best friends, they're not spending money on women unless they really like them or they really value them. And I saw that, Rolly. You ain't low, but they gotta really get to know you. They gotta have a lot of conversation with you. They gotta see, are you worth spending the money on? And hearing from their experiences, some women weren't worth it. Some women, like, if you ain't there in your brain, if you ain't actually like what they're looking for in a relationship or worth spending money on, they're not taking you out. So I think it's kind of like maybe essential, like maybe like you spend the first couple weeks talking, getting to know the person and seeing if y'all click, y'all vibe, and if this is something worth pursuing. I think it's fair game. But like, you meet me on a Tuesday and we supposed to go out on a Friday. Like, you can meet somebody there, but then I think as a woman, make sure you bring your own money to the date. Yep. Just in case it don't go over well. And then if he wants to split the check because he don't like you, you good. Because if not, yes, don't get me wrong, he asked you out. And I think it's still important that he pays. But at the same time, like, you got your own money and then you don't have to feel combined to staying.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just from what I've learned from my guy friends. And just as a woman, making sure, like, if this ain't what you even looking for, don't waste your time anymore. Because they ain't meal tickets. I've learned a lot of women look at men as meal tickets. Men aren't meal tickets. And they are not here to pay your bills.
Right.
So, Rolly, stop making faces. I know, but I've learned from you. I've learned, shout outs to Meme. I've learned from Meme. Shout outs to Mac. I've learned from Mac. I can keep going on my list with my guy friends. So shout outs to y'all, but yes, I've learned.
I think it's important to, take a woman out because at the end of the day, those same lines of questions can be asked on the first date. And also you can kind of see what the chemistry is like. You can ask questions all day, but like, do you vibe well? Is there a level of attraction? Like that same level of communication that happened prior to the date or line of questions, it's not easily translated when it comes to like the physical attraction or like the chemistry that you might have. Like you might be really funny during text, but like in person, you might be a lump on a log. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it could be interchangeable. You might be really funny in person, but then when you text, you're boring, or on a phone call, you're like silent. So I think it's important for a man to take a woman out for those, various reasons.
Yeah. I definitely agree in a little trial period because, again, just as much as he has to see if he likes you, I got to see if I want to even be around you and sit at a table with you.
That's a fact.
I remember going on a date and I was so bored. I'm like, oh my gosh, I low-key wish I never said yes to this. But, food was good. But it's like, you got to just see from me that energy first. That's why I don't get my number out. Like, I feel like that's just too much access to me. You got to go to the DM trial first, or let's see that, and then we take it from there. But I don't give my number out just to everyone that easily, especially if I first meet you, or I don't know, we just met and I didn't even get to talk to you a little bit in person. Like maybe if I got to chit chat with you, whatever, cool. But off of rip, if like a guy pulling up on me like, oh, you cute, like let me get your number. Whoa, no, like I don't know what you about to run. Like yeah, no. About to text my phone with all that.
I definitely agree. Even if I meet somebody the first time I meet them, I'm sorry, I'm giving you my Instagram DM, because like I don't need like that access. I don't need you always having that access to me, unless like we were sitting there for like a whole hour, 2 hours, like at an event or something, and we were just talking. Then sure, like if I felt like either the chemistry is there, the mindset is there, and everything was there, then sure, why not? I wouldn't have a problem with it. But it's like people also can fake the funk sometimes when you're immediately with them that first time. So like even FaceTime calls I think are important, like text messages. So I can see where your mind is and if you're level-headed, because you need to know if I'm level-headed. Because if I'm not level-headed, then this is not worth you spending maybe $100 on, or me sitting through 3 or 4 grueling hours of a date. And then like you wanted to pursue after. And I'm not saying that y'all be getting so heartbroken, but sometimes y'all get frustrated when y'all spend money and you be like, this was not worth the investment. So I think women are an investment. I also think men are an investment as well. But like if this investment isn't mutual, then there's no point in moving forward.
Yeah. Then we're in debt. Because
Yeah.
So has everybody here been in love?
Yes.
what's in love? Because I don't think I have.
He been through it all.
Whoa.
Say, I'm over it.
I mean, ain't no secret. I mean, that's life though. You feel me?
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
sometimes you just gotta brush it off and then on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Like-
you gotta,
like,
you
you
gotta,
got-
you gotta get out there.
Hey, plus you gotta keep a positive mindset.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
me, it's like there's no point. Like you're wasting energy and time thinking negative.
Yeah, yeah.
So everybody's yes. That was a yes to everyone.
No, I often struggle with that in the statement of being in love because, like, say you felt like you were in love in high school, but that was high school, and that was just do you guys believe in the 3 different types of loves you have in your life? First love,
Eros.
second love, third love.
I've heard
I
of
was
it.
gonna say
And
Eros
so
all
it's
that,
like-
but no.
So,
Go into
like,
detail.
that's supposed to be. Well, the first love is supposed to. I don't want to like give false info, but from what I know, it's like first love is just that kitty love, that honeymoon type of love, like oh my gosh, like love it here type of vibe. The second love is kind of where you learn all the things about not only yourself that needs to grow, but that what you do and don't like in a relationship. Then that third love is just supposed to be like that final love where you've taken what you've learned from having a first and second love and progress from there. But I don't know, being in love, like, to me, that statement is like, if you're in love, it's just a phase or a moment. You're in love. You're in a moment. So is being in love ever a lasting thing? For real? Or, because if we've all been in love and then, like, it just didn't last, like, were we really in love?
I
Or
think-
were we psyched out to think we were in love because that person was just giving us what we thought we wanted?
I think so.
I
think-
kind of, I don't know. It's weird. I've thought about the same thing. It's like, I've been in a lot of like, and then it's like, when you think about love, like that love that we all think about from movies and like that feeling that everyone's chasing, it's like, do you know until like your deathbed where you're like, you're thinking back and you're like, damn, nah. Out of all the people, that was the one. That was the one I was in love with. Yeah. Cause like, you could be in like, and it's so crazy, like the lust that you could feel from a very quick relationship or a hot, fast relationship. You'd be like, damn, I felt the most out of that one. But then the love you'll feel from like a long-term kind of like deep one where, like all you're compatible, everything just kind of works out. Like you could have like a long-term commitment or like just togetherness with them. But then it doesn't feel as hot as that other one. So it's kind of like what that definition of what is that feeling of love, and then like really knowing like what from all the people you've met or you felt the love for, like how do you know it until like the end of your, not to get too dark, the end of your life where it's like, that was the love.
You know until you get there, right? Like,
You ain't gonna know till you in heaven, and it's like,
I don't know, like, love is a difficult thing to navigate because I think the main thing that, like, people struggle with on a regular basis is, like, the compromise part because you don't want to go out like you a chump, but at the same time, you don't want to throw away something that, could have been solved or resolved. Like, you don't want to ruin a relationship that could have been resolved, but you also don't want to stick around in a relationship where you're not being appreciated about finding that line and really being able to find the signs within your own situation.
I definitely agree.
To piggyback off that, that's something I had to learn from my last relationship is not being so indulged in the things that really don't matter. Like, you can make it work, girl. Get over it. Like, I had to tell myself that, like, you can compromise these things. You kind of being shallow. Grow up. So it's like, yeah, I think that's something that's really important. Just coming to a common ground, because, like we was all saying, I mean, I don't know. Coming to a common ground with the bed, though, is just that's a different topic. But you're saying coming to a common ground just emotionally and mentally, right? Like coming to a common ground mentally and emotionally, right? Or all aspects.
All aspects.
Yeah. Then you're right. All aspects.
I got one more question before we wrap up, guys. What is the energy that you think that, because obviously we know all these podcasters will put it out that the relationships and the divorce rates and everything are plummeting. Yes, women are kind of initiating a majority of the divorces or ending majority of the relationships and things like that. And especially within the Black community, we have one of the highest single mother rates, right? And I think I'm probably going to ask this for the Black men first, and then as the women second. Wait, I ain't done yet. What do you think are like maybe 2 or 3 things that we can do to possibly progress getting back on track when it comes to Black love and like really helping the community be more unified? Because we're getting to a point that's separating. Like, and it's okay to venture out into other races, and if y'all find love over there, that's perfectly fine. But what do you think, in order for Black women to keep our Black men, what do you think we need to do to show up better for y'all, or just to love y'all better, to just be a better community?
I've had multiple conversations with multiple individuals, and there seems to be a over-encompassing issue of women not letting guys lead. So the issue lies in I'm not saying like, oh, just do whatever he says, right? In terms of letting the guy lead. So women have, for example, your mindset is more long-term, right? Like, we're talking about 10 years for what-if situations. Meanwhile, guys are short-term. We're talking about within the next 5 years, within the next 2-3 months. So in terms of that, if we, instead of each individual or each sex just taking or sticking to their way of thinking, instead, if we combine the 2 ways of thinking, we would have less conflicts and issues. And also, it seems that for some weird reason, whenever a guy gets in a relationship with a woman, whenever he tells or like, let's say, expresses certain frustrations or certain wants and needs, it seems as though he is making a demand of you, or he is being an authoritative figure instead of just being a significant other looking out for you. Because I've gotten to the place where it's like, let's say, for example, I tell you to work out, right? I'm not telling you to work out because I want you to, I personally just want you to, work out. I'm telling you to work out because I'm looking out for you. And from a longevity aspect, I just want you to be the best you that you can be. And how do you do that? You have to be healthy physically first before you can even, like, people have a tendency of ignoring the relationship between mental health as well as physical health. So me expressing to you to take care of your body, eat right, do all this and that, it seems as though I'm trying to manipulate your lifestyle. I'm not trying to manipulate your lifestyle. That's my way of taking care of you. So instead of us being competitive and looking at the other as somebody who's trying to take over your life, let's take both our perspectives and combine them and help and conversate and, bounce ideas off each other so that we could actually help our community grow instead of, doing this warfare nonsense.
Okay.
I think it's important for us to like have an understanding in general. I think that our generation specifically, like millennials and Gen Z, like we get a lot of information off the internet, off social media specifically, and I think that we like often use it as a crutch rather than as a tool, or as a resource. Because like the things you see on social media aren't the end all be all or the reality of the world. It's the perception of what the world is. And I think that it's important for us to realize that like every situation is different. So you might see somebody come on social media and say something that you may agree with on a surface level, but when you get into the nitty gritty of like your personal situation and you try to apply that information, it may not necessarily apply the way in which you may thought it did when you initially agree with it. So I think that like on both sides, especially with men, I think that men don't like. I think men go out a lot of times. They don't really understand women's perspective because we're so like adamant on like getting heard ourselves. But it's really a two-way street of like listening and communicating. Because once you like open your ears to listen to what somebody wants, it makes it easier for them to do what they want, so that you can get what you need in return.
Okay. I really like what both of you guys said, to be fair. Like, just the idea of one, allowing a man, from, I guess, a woman specific, allowing a man to lead. You don't have to, you could make sure you're kind of steering, because, once again, you have to be comfortable with the guy's leading style. But also not, like, trying to always take the reins. And then also the point of, like, not overemphasizing what you're seeing on social media. I would say, like, the best way to encourage or like kind of get back to that black love is once again effort, but then also like having a growth mindset. So it's like we all go through traumas, we all go through bad breakups, whatever, even family situations or whatever it is. You have to have that growth mindset, the mindset of, all right, that happened, I'm gonna learn from it, and like don't skip the steps of like healing. It's kind of like a hot phrase right now, but like really take healing into account for men and women. Like, don't go out, because once again, when you're in a bad way from someone else affecting your life, you could easily transfer that to another person. So like having a mindset of like black people as a community, and like your actions do not only affect your partner but your community. So if you just are out here willy-nilly just doing it with anybody, that's guys, girls, like, and having kids that you don't take care of or you're not looking after, then they go into the community and they then, affect your neighbor, your whoever it is around you. So, and then that perpetuates whatever we're going through right now. So I feel like you got to have that growth mindset of growing yourself, healing yourself, and, really taking into account how you interact with your next partner and trying to grow that and build something that, one, could be inspirational, but also is very genuine and true. So like, don't feel like you need to always do stuff that's Instagrammable. Do things that you like because you know you like it, and then find someone that likes that thing too. And once again, all these one things aren't going to solve the whole issue, but if you take that step and like first work on yourself, work in your family, your community, and then let it grow out, I think that's like a good step for everyone in general.
Okay.
That was nice. Yeah.
All right, ladies, I need to
Excellent.
hear your perspective before we wrap up.
Sorry.
I would say focusing on individuality first before stepping into something too, because I think some people depend on their partner to be there to complete them. I feel like you need to come in completed already, and then from there the compromise works, and you guys piggyback off of whatever it is you don't like, and then asking the right questions. And to ask the right questions, you have to also dive back into what's important to you, because if you're just having conversation with this person and it's of no substance and you're not really figuring out the real things and picking out the red flags and such, then you're just going into it blind and you're not really, understanding what's going to be right for you. You kind of just going with the motion. So I think asking right questions and also really diving into that person's upbringing too, because the person's upbringing has a lot to do with how they're gonna treat you in a relationship. So when you just look at those things and just observe it, I feel like as a community and when it comes to Black love, that can help filter out and really just remove all those traumas that we have experienced or that we could possibly project into the relationship. It could block that out better, if you ask me.
Okay.
Yeah, I really agree with what you said about knowing how somebody's upbringing was, because that is really going to perpetuate how they're going to treat you. And also just having a level of trust. You can't allow your man to lead if you don't trust him. So if you trust him, no matter what your leading style is, she's going to, allow you to lead and allow you and to be comfortable with you leading. So that means that you have to make, the right choices and be responsible when it comes to like finances and different types of decisions and opportunities, things like that. And of course is an effort together. And just having a level of awareness of yourself. Like you said, someone can't complete you. Like you have to be already completed. So prior to being in any relationship, I think it's important, like you said, to know what you like and to do the things that you like and to really hone in on that, because when you're doing that, you're becoming the best version of yourself. So, when it comes to manifestation, we hear that a lot, right? Like attracts like. So if you're becoming the best version of you and you're already that best version, of course it's still like, fluctuation, work in progress, that is going to be matched with your partner. He's going to reflect that because you're reflecting that.
Yes.
So it's just, a level of awareness and, just taking all those things in accountability.
I'm not taking away from your conversation or anything. Your statement, I 100% agree and support it. But one thing that I would, disagree with is the completion part. Studies show that we are always evolving. I think it's every 20 or 30 years, you have to relearn yourself, because as an individual, when you add and subtract certain responsibilities from yourself, you have to, disassociate yourself and associate yourself with those responsibilities and those titles that you've gotten. For example, like, I'm a student, I do what students do. I'm an athlete, I do what athletes do. I'm a parent, I do what parents do. I'm a grandparent, I do what grandparents do. So that concept of completion is like you're always learning yourself. You're always learning more. So that statement of completion, I'm sorry, but it doesn't exist.
So I don't know if you heard everything I said, but I did say that it's still a work in progress. So
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But it's just that one statement that.
yeah. So when I said you being complete, I said also too that it's also
Always a work in
fluctuates and
progress.
it's always changing. So I definitely agree with you saying it's always evolving. But I'm just saying, like, as far as becoming the best version of you, doing the things that make you happy, you're going to be attracting a partner that's going to be doing those same things as well. But you have to feel some type of level of completion in a sense, because you're not dependent on another person to fill any kind of voids within you.
Yeah, okay, I respect that.
All right.
I'm not going to continue.
I agree with everything y'all said, so it's like, dang, I don't really got nothing else to say to all that. Like, I don't even there's no cherry on top. I think the only one thing I would say is that make sure y'all both are grounded in something, like together as a unit. I think for me, I believe in Christianity, I believe in God. So like, if y'all are in a relationship, it says in the Bible, the two become one. So if y'all are just going towards, whether that's a marriage or a long-time partnership, whatever that is, I think that y'all should be grounded in working towards one individual goal together, whether that's to be the marriage, whether that's to be together for the rest of your lives, but no title, whatever that works, whatever that is best for anybody. But to be grounded, I think is just the one essential thing that every relationship needs. And that should be like a forefront conversation, a topic that everybody should have, is when it comes to Black love, interracial love, any love type of love it is. And also just learning, just wanting to learn about that person, just continuously evolving, like all of you guys said. But thank you guys all for being here today. Shout out to y'all. Give y'all a round of applause. Y'all were amazing on the pod. I genuinely appreciate all y'all. Make sure y'all tune in to the next podcast or video episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend. Tell a friend. And shout outs once again to Black Monday. Shout out to Monita Kai for being on the podcast prior and then, inviting me back. Thank you, Live 21, for having the event. And stay tuned, guys, for another episode. Till then, see you guys. Bye.